Goat district, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
What is up, Fantasy Land? Welcome back to Draft Room Live, the GOAT District episode. Dan and I smashing some high stakes drafts. Today we're going for $1 million in the Big Gorilla on our favorite site, the FFPC. And Dan, this is the time of year, man. This is the money-making month, as they call it. We've been drafting since February, but now it just feels like, you know, we're like in the Rocky videos. We've been skipping rope. We've been punching the bag. We've been skipping. We've been running along the beach, you know, and now we're just ready to take these drafts down. I'm pumped to do this with you today, brother.
Yeah, same JD. I am just so excited. I feel like I'm starting to, you know, really hit my stride on the drafting and, you know, ready to rock and roll. So, and here we go.
All right, Danny boy. Looks like we're going Jameer
Gibbs
here.
Yeah, I'm all in on Gibbs here.
No, I love it. And I mean, we could still talk it through as much as we had two guys lined up here that, you know, Lamb obviously goes off the board, but
yeah.
Let me just, there we go. So we got Gibbs in there. Now, I don't know how you feel about Montgomery, because he's been one of our favorite clicks in the past few years. He's really paid off at ADP. But, and again, maybe you can remind me what the injury was. When he came back last year, he just did not look the same. And I know he's coming right off of an injury, but he's also getting up there in age. And Gibbs just showed last year that if you give him the ball, man, he's going to make some magic. And I feel like with a new OC in there, they're going to want to give their best players the ball, you know, to keep it simple. What are your thoughts with wanting to go Gibbs early here? Like, what's your reason for liking him maybe over some of these other guys that we passed on?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Gibbs was actually outscored Saquon last year, so you know, there is that. You know, just the pass catching upside, and I think that there's still some untapped potential there. I mean, as well as he does as pass catcher last year, I think he could possibly earn more targets. He's a threat to score from anywhere on the field with that speed, and he's in a dynamic offense with a lot of other threats that defenses have to, you know, keep their eye on, and that makes it really, really tough for a defense to try to clamp down on Gibbs. I mean, you know, you know, I'm a Vikings fan, and when the Vikings are playing the Lions, man, I am shaking in my boots every time the Lions are on offense, because they've got so many ways to burn you so fast. And it's just tough for any defense to keep up with. Which is kind of crazy when you think about how we spoke about the Lions not that long ago, you know, and now they are the big, bad, scary offensive machine with might I say, Jared Goff at quarterback. So it's just, to me, Dan Campbell is just awesome. You know what I mean? Like, I feel what he brought in there, the culture he brought in, and just what they've built there is so excited for the NFL and exciting for us, obviously, in fantasy. So I think Gibbs is a great way to start this thing. They've come a long way from biting kneecaps, haven't they?
Where's my, here we go. This is for you, Dan. So Bowers goes off at the 8. I've seen him all over the first round. I don't know about you, but
that's as late as I've seen him in a long time.
Yeah,
I was going to just value on Bowers.
Let me check on my. Yeah, so you're right. He's going like at the 7 in the last couple of days, according to Fantasy Mojo. So, A-Chain, Neighbors. Any concerns with any of the other guys that we see so far in the first round when you're drafting?
I mean, not really. I mean, obviously Christian McCaffrey, he's either going to break fantasy or he's going to break your heart, one of the two. So, what do you do? I mean, in a tournament, I'm going to have some McCaffrey. In a standalone league, I might go a different way, just because he can wreck your team. But yeah, I think these are all These are all very defensible picks. I mean, what we're starting to see is the second, like the middle and back end of round 1 are starting to mix themselves up a little bit more. We see somebody at Team 11 is not concerned at all about Matt Stafford. He's taking Puka Nacua as wide receiver 5 at pick 11. That's I think a little bit ballsy, but more power to him. If it works out, great.
Dan, this time of year is so fun, and the closer we get to the start of the season, the funner the drafts get. And I know you and I have already lined up our main event that we'll be recording, pre-record, kind of like we're doing tonight, so we can discuss it, all that fun stuff. But it's like a perfect storm of the time of year. Players are starting to get on the field. There's like, I get a notification like every 5 to 10 minutes on my new smartwatch on my phone. And it's like, it's just funny watching the way the ADP reacts and doesn't react. Like some things you're like, how is this guy not moving? And then you see another guy's ADP and you're like, wow, people are overreacting, so it just makes every time you get into a draft room totally different, as opposed to, we went a while here in the middle of the summer where, we're kind of reaching to find something of value, but now the players are on the field. It's a little different.
Yeah, ADP has been kind of stagnant, basically since, it sorted itself out after the NFL draft. And it's, up until training camp started. Now we're getting actual news. We're getting fake news. We're getting games, with performances, and, people get excited or bummed out or whatever, so that's causing some player movement. So that makes right now a really exciting time to be drafting. Because, you are going to see some values, you are going to see some players dropping, and you got to decide, are they dropping for good reason, or is that are they just dropping somebody right into my lap? So love drafting at this time of year.
Yeah, you're kind of sitting there sometimes thinking like, am I the crazy one, or am I just getting some? Because I've had a couple guys send me DM shots of their draft boards recently. And they're very consistent in how much value that they're getting in almost every round. And they're like, wow, guys are just dropping. Like, they're like, I couldn't not take, they're like, I went in with one plan and the value was just too good, kind of over and over. So I'm curious to see how this draft goes. Obviously, this is a fun tournament. I mean, the Big Gorilla, obviously, if you're not already drafting it, this is how I found the FFPC. This was initially how I popped my cherry, I guess you could say. Did my 350 league, way back in the day, and I won my league, like that, the actual 12-man league, got into the money rounds, and then I just came back the next year, took advantage of the buy 3 get something. If you buy 3, you get like a discount or something. So I bought like a 3-pack, and then I think I dabbled in either a dynasty or something like that. And then it's just every year you just add on. But this tournament is like the OG, for them. And that's it's nice to see how big it's gotten and how fun it is. And we're gonna see that tonight. I see. It's funny. I started doing what you did, and then I just deleted them all because I'm like, it's just it's. I mean, at this point of the draft, it's basically there's kind of less of those guys that you're looking way later down the queue.
Right.
So we're 2 away here. We started with, there she is. We started with Gibbs. AJ Brown is definitely a possibility. We just looked it up. I could have swore I saw a notification today, but he's nice and healthy, which is what I like. guy that I just keep drafting. I think he's not that he's undervalued, but I just feel like going at the back end, for me, he's in that second tier with the Drakes, the BTJs, the Collins. Like, he's one of the best receivers in the league. And we are on the clock, and he goes off the board. There you go. So even though somebody's not listening, they're listening.
Yep.
So do you have it in order in the queue with Bucky?
Not necessarily. I think I'd probably push for either McConkey or Kittle here because there's a bunch of running backs. I think there's a better chance that a running back we like is going to come back to us than either the wide receiver or the tight end. So do you not like Jonathan Taylor? I do like Jonathan Taylor. I think there's a chance he might come back.
Okay.
I like Bucky over him, just because Bucky does a lot.
You know what?
I have a lot more in the passing game.
I have like no Bucky, so if you want to go that way, I'm fine with it.
What about Ladd or Kittle?
I love Kittle. You don't never have to convince me on Kittle. So Irving or Kittle for me.
Let's do Kittle.
All right. Now
this is going to free us up at tight end to just kind of take the best available player.
So strategy wise, we both know that Kittle is now creeped into the second. I think he went like fourth, third, and then now he's in the second. Now, any concerns with you having a Kittle in the second round versus other rosters that started with Gibbs? Maybe they have Kittle and then they picked him up later. Like, just strategically, do you think about stuff like that?
I really give that very little credence, just because of the fact that rosters change throughout the course of the season. Good players are good players wherever you draft them, so it doesn't really matter. If you take Kittle in the second round and avoid taking somebody who busted in the second round, and somebody got him in the third round but took somebody who busted in the second round, then what's the difference, right? Is it different for you in best ball? No, not really. Okay. Because again, I think different players are going to have different teams are going to have different combinations of players, and if the teams that were taking Kittle later, all it takes is a bust or two up top, or all it takes is for me to nab a player in the third round that they never even had took a shot at because they took Kittle instead. So lots of things can happen. It doesn't really concern me, and they're going running back heavy around this term. Yep. I don't mind that at all. I would love to see McConkey fall to us here.
So he goes. We've got G-Dubs. We've got the QB1 in Lamar, or we go. I mean, I think I'm more of a Breece Hall guy than you are.
Yeah. I think the volume that G-Dub is going to get is going to be pretty spectacular.
And it opens up fields too for us if we want to take a nice swing in the middle of the rounds there. He's kind of got really nice upside.
Yeah. Yep. I would agree. I think Garrett Wilson was kind of my fallback here. Every player that we wanted before Wilson has already gone. So, I think Wilson is kind of the best available at this point. You good with that?
Done. I just clicked it. You think of how, like last year with, just that he was kind of in this weird situation because Adam comes in, he's kind of like the ex-girlfriend that's coming in and looks hot and all in good shape and wearing the skinny stuff. And then, she comes in, into this new house, where basically everyone was like, man, G-Dubs, Rodgers, it's going to be, magic. And then Dan Adams, does it really matter how old he is right now? I mean, he's a machine, and he came in last year. So then Wilson was like kind of, if I remember correctly, he was a little more up and down, no? For some of those latter games in the season?
Yeah, he definitely was. Adams coming along definitely made a big difference. I'm looking up right now what his splits were with and without Devontae last year.
That's good. Shout out to RotoViz.
Yep. So with Devontae Adams, Garrett Wilson was averaging 14.23 PPR points. Without Devontae Adams, he was averaging 16.57, so over 2 points more per game. He was averaging basically a reception and a half more per game. A little bit better on TDs. He was getting more than 3 targets a game extra, and his receiving yards were almost the same. So, I like Wilson a lot with Adams out of town and being the clear number 1. And then you've got Justin Fields and the whole shower narrative with, they were teammates at Ohio State, all that kind of stuff. I mean, Fields is very used to throwing to him.
We've also seen Fields lock in on that wide receiver 1, so that really opens up
DJ Moore.
Yeah, exactly, and that opens up Wilson. Now I was not hoping. I mean, I didn't think he would, but I was thinking Hall would be nice here on the way back. But then I realized where we were in the round. We started that thing off basically. So we had a little, like you talked about, 5 running back run there. So we're at 14 running backs off the board, including Hall. You've got 15 receivers off the board, and then the usual chalk 3 tight ends that are off the board. Anything that stands out that's, you've got a couple teams that have green stains on their pants, when you're a kid, come in after a long day playing outside. Most young people these days wouldn't know what that means to play outside, but it's you've got that. You've got only one guy, surprisingly, Dan, with pissing yellow in the middle. Got cheese or whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, teams 11 and 12 still have a chance to piss yellow here.
True.
So, that can still happen. But yeah, 2 teams that are going robust RB here, and I like that. I mean, I think that sets us up well. I like where we're sitting with these first 3 players. Like I say, obviously Garrett Wilson was kind of the last of our choices, but still, I think the best choice that was left out of the players. And sometimes, you get lucky. Sometimes, the draft just says, hey, we're sucking up all the good players, and you're going to have to deal with what you got and make something happen later in the draft.
Yeah, I think I started saying earlier, and I never finished. It's kind of a perfect storm this time of year with everything we talked about ADP wise and news and the players playing and all that. On top of the closer we get in, the bigger the draft pool, the drafters pool, like the people coming in to play. You've got kind of that new, you don't want to say fish, but just those they're drafting maybe less teams. They haven't been drafting all off season. They're just kind of starting to follow the news now. So it adds like a really nice mix. You're not seeing the same faces in every draft room is what I'm saying.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
All right. So a couple quarterbacks off the board. I see some names. I know obviously you're a big Henderson guy. He's on a different platform. One of my most owned players from prior to the draft. Definitely like Henderson. I love Worthy more than most. Tet, I think, is going to get smashed with targets this year.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
What about really getting pushed up the draft boards now with that 100-yard kickoff return, and just looking electric, and Ramondre Stevenson not practicing today. I mean, there's just everybody's in on him. There's no doubt about it.
With Henderson?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's funny. I just drafted Ramondre later in a draft today. I think it's a 250 best ball. And right after we draft Ramondre, I'm building it with Snowman. I see the news with the Ramondre missing. So that's also the not so fun part of the year where you start hearing news and you're hoping it's just not your player.
Yep, exactly.
I did not mean to throw that in, but I'm adding. Why is this? Oh, you have him at the top of the queue. I'm like, why is Pickens not adding in the box? I didn't even notice that you had him there. So yeah, Pickens would definitely be my first. You kind of have it in the same order as I would.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much a teardrop after that.
Yeah, I would agree.
Maybe you could throw Smith in there, like with that tier. But otherwise, I think there's kind of a teardrop now. All right, so we going Pickens?
Yeah, I like Pickens here. I think we might be able to push RJ Harvey around. I would really like that. If he's there, I think he's a smash pick. If not, Jamison Williams or Jaden Daniels are also very, very fun picks if either of them is left. And Jamison, of course, would pair up well with Jahmyr Gibbs.
So right now, ADP-wise, Mojo, they're going back-to-back, Pickens and RJ Harvey.
Okay. Well, let's...
Like, I'd rather have Wilson and Pickens than Gibbs and RJ Harvey.
Yeah, right? That's fine. Yep, go ahead and take him.
Okay.
And
what are your thoughts on
going until pick 54? So that's why I'm thinking he could probably last anyways. He's got at least a decent chance because we're picking at pick 52
for Harvey.
For Harvey, yeah. So it's by no means a sure thing, but it's definitely something that can happen. And especially with teams 1 and 2 already having 2 and 3 running backs, that makes it a little more likely that he can be pushed around. And there's a lot of people are still going with Connor and Chuba Hubbard over RJ Harvey as well. So I think there's a good chance he can make it back to us.
This is the main event
We are
draft
drafting
season.
a main event team on FFPC $2,000 entry team. Grand prize of $1 million.
I'm looking for that $1 million top prize.
Main event season is in full swing.
Just looking at the
see what
ADP
happens
here. Yeah, Swift is another guy that's sometimes you see him creep up a bit in drafts, depending on how people feel about that offense.
Yep.
So see with the one spot, I think that's a good get. DK Metcalf as your wide receiver too. I don't mind that. And then
there
puts
goes
in the
Chuba.
third running back. Yep.
Okay.
So we have 3 guys left in the queue, and we have 3 picks. And there goes one of them.
Jamison. Yep.
Either way, decision gets made for us if they. Oh, there it goes. Like magic.
Nice.
Like magic.
All right. Yeah. RJ Harvey is the smash pick here, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
right.
Like I said, we had 3 guys in the queue. They went literally one after the other, and then it was just a matter of the nice thing is now, we talked about earlier. Do you like Pickens with Wilson or RJ with Gibbs? Is we have both, so it's even better.
Right. Yes, exactly. So we're in good shape. Really love where we're sitting at running back. RJ Harvey, I think, is he's a fantastic pick, and Dobbins is going late enough that if we decide that's what we want to do, we certainly can, because he'd be going kind of around that 8-9 turn. But we may have other fish to fry by then. But I think between RJ Harvey and Dobbins, it's going to, Denver's going to have a huge workload at running back. And if Harvey is able to get that passing game work, that's going to be massive.
Yeah, definitely good start with the two receivers, 2 running backs, and then our stud in Kittle. Not really. It's kind of in a nice spot now where, like, I know where I would like to go position wise, but we're not really, in a needy situation at any specific position, so we can pretty much just kind of see who falls kind of as we're doing.
I think we can pretty easily double tap wide receiver at the next
that's
turn.
exactly what I was thinking. It's exactly what I was. And it's just because you look at it and it's like, we've got our RB1, we've got our RB, 2A, I guess I call it, because then I'm still trying to build depth, obviously, at the position to fill that RB2, and then sometimes into flex when we can. But the two receivers, I like having those 4 studs, you know, in the first, whatever it is, 8 rounds, 7 rounds, if I can. And then that kind of makes me just feel nice and cozy. I can do pretty much all the other positions after, and then grab maybe a couple value receivers.
Yep. Terry McLaurin falling there. I thought it was an interesting decision by Team 3 to pass up on McLaurin when they took Jaden Daniels.
Yes. Yeah. And that might, I don't know with that. I guess they just maybe don't think McLaurin signs or maybe gets traded or something. That would be the story that's being told there.
Yeah, I think the most likely outcome is that McLaurin does sign.
Same.
And because, you know, they've got – they're going for it. I mean, you know, they brought in Debo. You know, this is an older team. And, you know, other than Jaden Daniels, they need to be going for it this year. That's the way they've set themselves up. And to, you know, basically spite themselves by not wanting to sign McLaurin to a contract here, I think that puts them in a pretty tough position. I think McLaurin's the one who's got the leverage.
Yeah, and well, I mean, I think the one thing that plays in the Commanders' favor is that he's almost 30, you know, and he hasn't really been a top 20, you know, even like considered a top wide receiver. Yeah, like a bottom wide receiver 2. He's, you know, he's been like in the, if you're looking at fantasy points per game, he's been in like the 20 to 35 range, you know, except for last year, he was the wide receiver 14. Obviously that's not what they're looking at, but it gives us an idea, you know, production wise, I guess you could say where he kind of sits versus the others at his position.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think also, you know, it's kind of the no duh thing to say that, you know, hey, he finally got a good quarterback, and no duh, he finally put up a good season.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, I think that the two things go together. I mean, you know, I think he'd probably had another kind of so-so season if it hadn't been for Jaden Daniels coming in, but also he made Jaden Daniels, I think, a better passer, just by the way that McLaurin can open up the deep game and also do some stuff shallow. Just a good all-around wide receiver. And, you know, he has put up with a lot in Washington. My personal opinion, they owe him, but, you know, that's just me.
Yeah, I've heard that quite a bit, just that he's always been professional. He's been a good representation, you know, of the brand and all that during those, like you said, those rough seasons. So it wouldn't look good even to other players if they didn't, you know, kind of pay him. And I'm sure they can come to a compromise. It's odd to me that they wouldn't have made sure that that's already done. Like you said, they're competing. They want to win now. They didn't bring Debo to be their wide receiver 1 necessarily, you know. He was more complementary piece to what McLaurin was doing. So we'll see. So we're started the 6th round here.
Yeah, and Emeka Egbuka goes wide receiver 30. That's pretty wild. That is pretty high. I'm going to look up on Mojo. And if you're not subscribed to Mojo, you should be. Shame on you if you're not subscribed to Mojo at this point.
FantasyMojo.com, for sure.
Yep. Without a doubt. Egbuka has been the wide receiver 39.
He's like a mid-7th, so he's up like
that. Yeah, he's
almost around.
He's been going, in the mostly in the 7th round, but he has gone as high as like the 601, 602 a couple of times. So that's about as good as it gets, or as high as it gets. Yeah, 6'2" is the earliest pick he's been taken. So that's a pretty significant investment there. And I don't mind it. I mean, I think Egbuka is a really good wide receiver, and I think he's on a good team that's going to use his talents.
You like Egbuka or Pearsall?
I would take probably Egbuka, but it's close.
I threw Pearsall in there too.
Oh yeah. Pearsall definitely is he's a player of interest as well.
Threw another guy in there. Just I know we already went early at that position, but could be fun.
Yeah, I like that.
Oh,
So I'm thinking
and
Jeudy or Waddle here. If Jeudy is around, I think that's probably the pick.
I'm not a Jeudy person. I'm anti-Jeudy. I don't know. I really like Cedric Tillman, and I feel like Jeudy did what he did last year because of A, Winston, and 2, I just think, Tillman was out. He was the guy.
Team loves him. I think he's going to be the wide receiver 1 on that offense, no question about it.
But I'd rather get the wide receiver 1 in a 49ers offense than a Cleveland Browns offense, like with Brock Purdy.
I think Pearsall will come back to us. Maybe I'm crazy.
So they're both in the 7th round. Like it's like Buka, and then like three later it's Pearsall.
Yeah. So.
And you want to go what, Jeudy? I mean, he is a value.
If you're okay with it, if you're not, then we can go a different way.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. Just take him.
Okay. I think you're going to like that pick.
All right, we'll see. We'll see. That's your one gimme.
Yep. Now you got one coming. So now hopefully Pearsall makes it around. But there's also a couple of very interesting tight ends.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm actually I really like both guys we have. I threw in Ingram and Tyler Warren.
Yep. Like both of those guys. I don't mind Mark Andrews either.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that
at this price, but yeah, Stephon Diggs I would throw in there as a wide receiver.
The thing I like about Warren with Kittle is they're just, the upside is there with Warren. It's kind of that, when we talked about when we had, blanking. What was his name? Recently, tight end guy. Andrew Cooper.
Oh, yeah.
When we had Cooper, like just the mix, having that mix of tight end.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the established guy with, the upside rookie. And it's looking like he's going to get peppered this year, Warren. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is.
Yeah, I think you're right. So if it comes down to Warren or Pearsall, it sounds like Waddle was out for you.
Yeah, especially after Jeudy. I can't have Jeudy and Waddle on the same team, Dan. Those are two, that's sacrilegious.
I'm okay with that. All right, so yeah, we got Pearsall and Warren. I think that's our decision.
Yeah, so ADP wise, they go in the same round. Pearsall goes a few rounds ahead. I really like putting Warren with Kittle here.
All right, let's do it.
I think it makes it fun.
Yep.
Because at this point, it's not like we're going super early with our second pick. And I know normally, especially when we build these things, we're usually but I think it applies more to best ball, having, your early tight end, and then you just wait till the end and get 3 or 4 or 2 or 3 if you need to. But when you have to start these guys, the tight end premium, I mean, if Tyler Warren does 80%, 75% of what Bowers did, that's looking pretty good.
He could be a PPR cheat code for sure.
Yeah. All right. So the Jeudy stink is not as strong now, Dan. It's not as potent.
I'm glad to hear that.
I like getting Warren there. Pearsall was definitely an option. I mean, if you're looking at the whole week 17 or whatever team stacks and all that kind of thing, I'm not that prominently looking for stacks in these redrafts. I know they can still be important when you're looking at, especially in the playoffs, that kind of thing. But I really like getting the 2 tight ends here.
Yeah, and it's nice to have a really good tight end because Kittle is going to be on bye in week 14, which is going to be an important week in these big gorillas, just because weeks 13 and 14 is when you're playing for all the money in the league. So, if you win week 4, if you come in first place in the league playoffs weeks 13 and 14, it's $1,500. You can still make the final, just by being first or second before the playoffs start. You can still make the final sprint. But if you don't win in week 13, you're not going to win any money. And if you don't win in week 14, basically you're just going to get your entry fee back as far as the league specific prizes. So having somebody like Tyler Warren who can, fill in admirably for Kittle, I think by week 14 is going to look really, really nice. So
especially Dan, when they're going to Jacksonville, it's not like they're going to Kansas City, in week 11, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
All right. So we've got a couple names, a couple receivers we're looking at here. Pearsall, Diggs.
Yeah. Really surprised that those two have not gone yet.
I'm throwing some other names in the queue here that I like in this range. Eighth round right now. Let's see.
Yeah, and the 8th and 9th round turns, to me were a very running back and very running back heavy turn. So I think it'd be nice to come out with one running back, but I think we also probably want to get a wide receiver here. Yeah. And there are some nice ones still available. And there's a couple of them that we'd have to wait on, but I think we're going to be in a position where we can do that. Specifically, Jordan Addison or Chris Godwin. Those are players we would definitely have to wait on. I think I'd probably, I don't know. Chris Godwin, the only thing I don't want to worry too much about buys right now, but we do have two receivers already with week 9 bye, and Godwin has a week 9 bye as well. So that could put us in a little bit of trouble that 1 week. But, again, sometimes it's okay to punt 1 week if it helps you out the rest of the weeks.
The other thing with Godwin is if you look at it, he's supposed to be back, I think, week 6? Is that what
probably before that. Godwin, they're talking about, still could be ready for the start of the season.
Really?
He could be.
Could have swore I saw something.
2-3. I think you're thinking of Ayuk.
Maybe? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking about. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Yeah, I put Tracy there because I think Tracy plays well with RJ Harvey in the sense that, let's say Harvey is maybe slowly, kind of getting, whether it's him adapting or them just kind of getting him in slowly and leaning on Dobbins a bit early. I feel like Tracy should be at least the RB1, and I personally like Tracy more than I think most do. I especially in this range, getting an RB1, especially now you've got all the, you've got the health issue with Scadaboo. He's missing some crucial time right now. To me, I like Taylor even when the Scadaboo hype was going on. He's a guy that I like this season. From what I saw last year as a rookie, this team to me should be better offensively, especially at the quarterback position. I don't know what you think. He's gone now, obviously, but so we're looking at the four.
I'm fine with Tracy. Like you say, he's gone now, but
so would you go Dobbins here? Is that like something you would? I just threw a couple gross names in there.
Potentially. I think I'd probably go Addison or Godwin here. Do you have a preference between the two?
I normally go Addison here just because, especially if I have 3 established guys ahead of him, because to me, he's going to miss 3 games, but he comes back and he gives you there's not much difference in my opinion between an Addison and a Pickens when you think about the offense that they're in. one's getting a rookie quarterback and one's getting an older quarterback back after being off for a while in Dak. So, I mean, I feel like upside wise, he's still a guy that can give you 40 points as a wide receiver 4.
Right. Yep. Definitely. All right.
Kind of hoping somebody makes a decision for us.
Yeah. And it's possible that,
Yeah, they go pretty much back to back. And let me just see one thing. Here we go. Yeah, are you good with Addison?
Yeah, I'm good with Addison. You know me, I'm a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
Addison.
I just like that offense. I just like being invested in that offense, especially in the air. Beautiful. I'm building this charity draft thing on Sleeper, and I actually just took McCarthy in the 13th round to go with Addison and Hawkinson. It's just a team I want to be invested in, is
Yep.
the
All right,
Vikings.
so Dobbins goes, Godwin goes. So that was 2 guys. I'm really liking Charbonnet here. Ken Walker has had all sorts of trouble staying healthy.
Mm-hmm.
They want to run the piss out of the ball in Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
So Charbonnet, I think, is again, this is it's a little bit with RJ Harvey. If RJ Harvey starts slow and Charbonnet, starts out as a reserve or whatever, but I think we can still backfill at running back if we need to. But I would rather take an upside guy than, Javonte, I think, is a floor guy. I'd almost rather take a Jaden Blue than Javonte.
Yeah, there are guys we can take later on to kind of. I see what you're saying with that's why I threw in Sharbs, and I joked today on X saying Javonte. I never thought I'd say this. It's like disgusting saying it, but he's become one of my favorite clicks just because he's like, you're looking around, and if he's really the Cowboys starter, which that's what it sounds like, and if he can stay healthy, we might see what we were supposed to see, when he was in Denver. So I wasn't really even paying attention to him just because I had the dreaded experience of having him on a dynasty team last year. And it was just so gross trying to start him and hope he would do something. But, yeah, I mean, Sharbs or Javonte would be my choices here.
Are you okay going Sharbs?
Yeah, totally. We could, I was looking down, there's guys we can get later on that fit pretty nicely with our build that we can, where we can fill those holes,
Let's go Charbs here then. Done.
All right, so far so good.
Yep.
I mean, if you have a week with Gibbs, Harvey, and Charbonnet all starting, and we get to throw them in our starting lineup with, 3 of Pickens, Jeudy, Addison, and Garrett Wilson, and then we've got Kittle. Like, we've got some nice mix of rookie upside, with RJ Harvey, Warren, and then we've got
absolutely
the guys that have showed that they can put up big points. So far, this is a really nice tournament build, in my opinion. Fun one.
Yep, definitely. I think we can have some more fun at running back next round, hopefully.
So first round went yellow and green for the first 7, and then came back with Kraft. Similar build in the 2 spot. 3 spot, like you said, took Daniels, did not take McLaurin, and then he goes double tap with Hawkinson and Andrews. We've got our Kittle Warren combo, Gibbs, Harvey, and Charbonnet, and then receivers G-Dubs, Pickens, Jeudy, and Addison. Very similar builds with the 5 and the 7 spot, just kind of reverse with the running backs. Yeah, nothing too crazy build wise. I don't know if you see anything.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
Nothing out of the ordinary, anyways. Golden's a guy that's been getting some hype which we kind of knew as soon as they would get on the field and a couple throws would, go to Golden, and he was starting with the ones and getting, all of a sudden he's the wide receiver one in Packers land. Do you believe that, or how are you drafting that?
He's the only healthy guy left. Yeah. So he's a default wide receiver one. I mean, basically the news coming out is that he's still learning the playbook, but he's got the skills to make plays. So he's making plays every week or every day in practice, but he's also, it sounds like leaving a bunch on the table. So, but that's not the worst thing. I mean, if he's going to get the volume, and I think he is, he's at worst case, he's probably going to be like a wide receiver 3, I would guess, and being able to get him as your wide receiver 5, that's definitely a win.
Yeah, we'll see. The Packers is one of those where, other than Kraft, like it's kind of hard for me to click on them.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I'm in the same boat as you. Just can't really make those clicks very often because it'd be one thing if we're talking about like Jaden Reed and we're doing a best ball. I can see that. I can make that happen. But man, having to make that start-sit decision with Packers wide receivers is it's too tough. Same thing with Buffalo. I don't mind taking a Buffalo wide receiver, but I want it to be later in the draft. I don't want it to be anybody that I'm relying on in any significant way.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably, let's see. Probably on the next pair of picks, we might look at quarterback.
I definitely like Tootin here.
Yeah, Tootin and Sampson, I think, are smash picks. If they
agreed. What are you hearing out there with Burden these days? Basically,
Burden is, he's behind, but he's got electric speed, and he's kind of, like a discount Matthew Golden. And he's a guy I like a lot who could basically be, wrecking fantasy by the second half of the season. So, if we're able to get, I'm fine pushing quarterback past these 2 rounds. If we're able to get like Dylan Sampson, Bashal Tootin, one of those 2 plus Luther Burden, I would feel really, really good about that. Oh, we have somebody doubling up on quarterback already.
Oh, no way. Justin Fields. I was hoping we could have that conversation.
Yeah,
obviously with
spending the early pick on Josh Allen and then backing him up with Justin Fields. That's an interesting call. Yeah, we're kind of getting to the point where quarterback is a lot less on my radar right now.
And the difference here is this isn't best ball, right? Like you can only start one, so it's like you just put big capital on and it's weird because it's not like quarterbacks were going off the board or anything,
Right. Yeah, I personally, if I take Josh Allen, I am done at quarterback.
Yeah,
done.
Totally.
I'm not taking another one. Certainly not in the 10th round, and probably not ever unless there's a huge value that falls to me.
Well, at least, like we said, at least we don't have to make that decision. So Dylan Sampson goes off. I'm hoping Tootin makes it back here.
Yeah, if he doesn't, Garendo is another really interesting.
He's hurt though,
player.
No?
Yeah, so he's hurt, but that's what's making him available right now, is the fact that he's hurt.
I had your buddy Bradley on last week to do we did a draft versus each other, a 125.
Haven't seen it yet because I've only been in town a couple days, but it's on the list.
Yeah, make sure you guys go check that out. That was a really good draft. Bradley's got a ton of insight. He's just, he's what do you say, a math major or something like that. Really smart guy, really sharp in fantasy, especially best ball. So make sure you guys check that out from last week. It was the 125 buy-in. So Dan, we're on the clock.
Tootin'. I'm rooting for Tootin'.
Oh yeah, easily. Yeah, nice. I didn't even see that he was still there. Perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah.
We wanted one of him or Samson, so that works out perfectly. It's a nice RB4 with upside. You're hearing now that he's running with the ones in Jacksonville. So for me, the whole Tank Bigsby thing, Dan, I just couldn't get on board. I feel like last year he had the opportunity to be the guy. And as much as he had a couple big games last year, fantasy wise and yardage wise, especially when Etienne was hurt, I don't know. I just don't see it with Bigsby. Am I wrong?
I think he's at best the number 2 there.
Yeah.
I think if Etienne sticks around, then he's the number 3. I think if they trade Etienne, then he's the number 2. I think Tootin is going to take over that role. I mean, Bigsby might have a good couple first weeks, but yeah, that's tough. I'm going to throw Jaden Higgins in there as well. I think he's a really interesting.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's a guy I haven't been drafting. And it's not even haven't been drafting. He just goes before I, kind of get there.
Right. Yeah, I think we might want to go wide receiver here if Higgins or Burden is around.
I threw in a couple more running backs, 3 more running backs there.
All right, Higgins just went. I mean, I think Burton is kind of an interesting pick here, though Garendo is also a very, very interesting pick. So,
which one?
Garendo, Burden. I also kind of like the Ford pick as well.
Well, the reason I threw Ford in, he was the guy I was thinking about when we said Charbonnet. If he doesn't necessarily start in the beginning, I was thinking Ford plays with our Jeudy, and he could be the RB1. We didn't get Samson, so in this story, he could be the guy.
Yeah. I'm fine with any of those, I think. So.
You know what? I don't think I have, as much as I love Garendo and I've been smashing him everywhere, I don't think I have any in the Big Gorilla yet. So I wouldn't mind getting him at a value here.
Garendo? All right, let's do it.
You good with that?
Yep.
All right. So we're locked in pretty nicely right now at running back.
Yeah.
We're locked in pretty nicely at tight end unless something really, stands out when you're looking at what's available and a tight end that's got his hand out waving at us. Otherwise, obviously, we start thinking about our quarterback situation at some point. But, we're kind of open to add at receiver now if we need. And, RB, you always want depth in these type of tournaments, so can see what falls.
Yep. Yeah.
Have any worries with?
We can still get your boy Tillman too. That's not the worst idea for this team.
Yeah, because then if I'm right, we have both options. We have both storylines.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, Dan, I'll be right back. Give me 1 sec.
All right. Yep. Go right ahead. So yeah, Tillman is going to match up really nice with Jeudy. Gives us two weapons in that passing game. I think one of them will be good for sure. I really think Judy's going to be the guy, but having Tillman just kind of gives a little bit of insulation there. Luther Burden finally went off the board at the 11-7. So that was a nice
any worries with Caleb and what we're hearing, inconsistencies, or is it just a matter of growing pains? He's learning the offense.
I'm not drafting Caleb Williams. I'm not really drafting any Chicago Bears wide receivers or tight ends early, just because I wasn't a Caleb Williams believer last year. I'm still not a Caleb Williams believer, even with Ben Johnson there. I mean, there were enough concerning things with Caleb Williams, even though you can say a lot of it, very likely wasn't his fault. But good quarterbacks tend to rise above their situations and do it almost immediately. And when you don't see that, now to me, the onus is on Caleb Williams. He's got to prove himself to me. I'm not going to sit there and go out and draft him proactively and say, oh, yeah, this is going to be the year. He's one of there are plenty of players, and I understand you can't win in fantasy if you wait until you see it all the time. But he's one of those guys where I want to wait and see it. If he can prove me wrong and beat me, then so be it. But otherwise, I'm fine just not taking any Caleb and just going light on that passing game.
I threw Drake Maye in there just because he's fun.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just because he's awesome, and I just love owning him, So it's just like, especially in a tournament like this.
Yeah, he's probably my top quarterback right now on the board.
Yeah. I added him in there.
Maye is a great one. I'm going to throw Goff in there, and I'm going to throw McCarthy in there.
JJ
Goff,
for sure.
I'm throwing Goff in just because I think he's part of a good platoon. I think he's very playable at home. He's very playable in domes. And on my podcast earlier today, somebody in the chat pointed out that he is playing in domes from weeks 12 through 17. So.
Oh, nice. That's huge.
Yeah.
See, that's the first time I hear that. And guys, make sure you go check out Fantasy Empire, the 4 Sharps in one show with Dan, kind of captain of the ship. But there's, there's a good amount of brain in that room, Dan, over there with the 4 of you. There's a lot of
brain in that room.
So make sure you guys check that out. Player Profiler still on the Player Profiler?
Yep, still on the Player Profiler Now Plus channel. So be sure to check it out there on YouTube. I believe the show will be dropping Wednesday night at 6 o'clock or something like that on Spotify. So you can check it out there after that.
So Dan, if we're looking stack wise, I mean, Purdy's gone for Kittle, Fields is gone, Dak is gone, right? Yep. Maye for me is a nice standalone.
Yep.
Oh, he's gone. Oh no, he's still there.
No, he's still there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Drake Maye is a nice standalone.
I mean, you can always get guys later, but
us and Team 2 don't have a quarterback. I think Tillman is probably more likely to make it back than Drake Maye.
Yeah, I agree.
Right?
I agree. I think May's the pick here because usually he goes around the Caleb. Let me just see how much we got. Yeah, let me just check really quick on the old mojo here.
Yep.
So he goes right between Purdy and Caleb normally. So I feel like we're kind of getting him at a value here, and he just Dan, what happened there?
Drake Maye, smash. That was not our pick.
Oh my God, that scared the bejesus. You know why that scared me? Because I saw Rashad Bateman while we were discussing Drake Maye, and my heart just dropped. Like that
was not our pick. All right, I'm going to take Drake Maye so your heart doesn't drop anymore.
Oh, Dan. After Keenan Allen and Rashad Bateman, we just got Drake Maye. Like that's pure money for me. I love that. I love that with the build that we have so far.
It is. And you know what? I was talking about it doesn't really matter, but where you got guys, like Keenan Allen in the 12th round. But when you've got some 18th round shares of Keenan Allen, some 19th round shares of Keenan Allen,
Dan.
It feels pretty damn good.
Oh yeah. Those best ball streets, there's some big Keenan Allen bags.
Oh yeah. Yep.
I got
him in every format there is, so happy about that.
Yeah, I mean, he was free.
Right, yeah.
He was free. It was hard not to.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, it was like the price kept dropping and dropping and dropping, and it's like, okay, well, sooner or later. Another one we should probably consider here is Brandon Ayuk. I mean,
the only kind of pushback I would have there is you already have Addison that's missing time in the beginning.
And I think that's a fair point.
Yeah, it's still 13th round. There's still some decent picks around.
Yep, I'm fine. Let's go Tillman. Assuming that we can get him.
Yeah, I'm trying to see like what else. Kyle Williams is there as an interesting kind of big swing upside to go with our Drake Maye.
Yeah. Yep. Demario Douglas, I don't mind either.
Yep. Yeah, actually,
right.
I didn't even notice he's already there. Yeah. He might actually be a nice compliment to Addison early with Maye.
Yeah. Yep. So we got Tillman or Demario Douglas. I mean, I'm fine with either one. I probably prefer both of them over Kyle Williams.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I feel like Douglas could easily be. I mean, we always talk about top 2 targets on their offense. I love Tillman, don't get me wrong, but I just feel because we have Maye, maybe Douglas gets a slight lean.
That's fine.
Because we already invested Jeudy at a certain price, saying he's going to be the man. You know what I mean?
Right. Let's go Demario then.
Done.
Okay.
Yeah, the more I think about it, the more our story already talks about Drake Maye being an awesome quarterback. So why wouldn't you try to get his first possible first target in the 13th round? On top of the fact that we took Jeudy pretty early, relative in the 6th round, it's a pretty big investment at receivers. So you're already telling the story that he's the guy to go. Tillman, I feel like we kind of cap our upside. I know he's obviously if there's injuries, that kind of thing, but you're always kind of being optimistic about your build.
Yeah. And I like the fact that we're pushing another quarterback down to the 14th round, our first quarterback in the 12th round. We won't take another one until the 14th round at the soonest. Mm-hmm. And, I do think we might want to prioritize quarterback at the 14 because Team 2 does not have a quarterback at all yet. I feel like they're probably going to take C.J. Stroud as one of their quarterbacks since they've got Jaden Higgins and Christian Kirk. That would make sense to me, but, we'll see.
Yeah, there is some juicy quarterback action coming up here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we could go Goff or we could go McCarthy. Both of them fit with players we already have.
Totally. And Goff might actually be the better complement to Maye. Just thinking like young quarterback versus, I'd have to look quickly at the Detroit's beginning of the season if it's indoor out there, but at least either way, he's gone anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yep. That's all right. And we may not get J.J. McCarthy either. But I'm okay with that because you know what? There's a couple quarterbacks later on down that I'm still very, very fine with.
I threw Roshan in there. I just feel like he could be really useful in redraft this year. Like just a guy you can throw in whenever you need to. And I don't know if you like that at all.
You know who I like a lot is Manangi. He has been getting some nice
early for him. No, I saw that too that he was.
Yeah, it's early for him, but he's getting a nice positive drumbeat.
Yeah.
He's getting and it's getting to the point where we probably don't need to take him on the 14-15 turn, but we definitely need to take him on the 16-17.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that. It's crazy how that guy was like free for a while.
Yeah. And if Ayuk makes it back to us, I think we got to smash him just because.
Yeah, I don't disagree. We've got a pretty established roster, so he can sit on the bench for a bit.
Right.
Does McCarthy make it back?
I don't know. You've got the Lamar, the Mahomes, the Burrow, and the Hurts. And if I had any of those quarterbacks, I would not be prioritizing taking a quarterback here. The Caleb Williams drafter, that's the one that scares me the most. But he has no.
How do you feel about Lawrence? We have Tootin if JJ's not there.
Yeah, that's possible, though. I mean, I don't mind, going even later and taking Bryce Young or somebody like that. But or even Justin Herbert, I think is a good one. You're right. He does not fit as well, like Lawrence and Tootin gives us the pairing. But Herbert, I think, is probably the better quarterback. Well, not probably. I think Herbert is the better quarterback.
If we're gonna wait at quarterback
in an NFL sense,
if we wanted to wait at quarterback, would you pair Douglas and Kyle Williams on a Drake May build?
Possibly. I mean,
you hopefully get one receiver out of the two of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I still think if Ayuk is there, that's going to be kind of the smash here.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, actually. Yeah, that's got to be. He even compliments Douglas really nicely. And then he plays with our George Kittle and Grendo. So nothing wrong with investing in the 49ers, especially this year with their schedule. And
yeah. All right, let's smash that.
Nice. It's funny. I took him today in a slow draft. And I was thinking the same. I'm like, how's this guy still at the top of the queue? Like, he's just, you look at other guys going around him. Nobody's got that ceiling, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll have to get through a couple bye weeks where he's not going to be available, most likely. But, I mean, if he goes PUP, he'll be eligible to come off the PUP after week 4. And, while we're thinking it's more like week 6, it could be earlier. It could be later, too. I mean, there's a possibility that this Ayuk pick was, somebody who's going to be an albatross around our neck for, 8-9 weeks, something like that. But if he's not, and he comes back and he's full Ayuk, that's going to look pretty darn good. All right, so Team 2 still didn't take a quarterback. I'm betting they probably go quarterback here. Yeah, so we got, I think Kyle Williams might, I don't know. We might want to go Trevor Lawrence at quarterback if we don't get McCarthy. Let's see what
it's weird that the Jefferson guy took CJ Stroud, no?
There it went. Yep. McCarthy went.
Isn't it weird that 5 spot didn't take McCarthy instead of Stroud there?
I thought so, but
he has JJ.
If you're gonna go that way, yeah. All right. So do we want to go quarterback here, or do we want to keep pushing it? I'm okay to continue to push it. If you want to take a Kyle Williams or a Roschon Johnson or somebody like that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I mean, I don't even mind getting like a Darnold or something on the way back. You know what I mean? I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I like Cam Ward's another guy I like, actually.
Yep. Bryce Young looks really good.
Yeah, you know what? I'm fine. Nice. I'm fine waiting. If we can get like one of those guys, Young, like Ward, like upside type play. Even Geno Smith is pretty awesome. I know we don't have any, but we can always grab like one of those late guys, Deontay or whatever.
Let's go Kyle Williams then. I like having Kyle and DeMario.
Nice. See, that's kind of why I was asking, because I feel like with Maye, I feel like you're getting a nice floor with Douglas, and then you're getting like this massive upside with Kyle. If he figures it out, that's kind of my worry, is does he figure it out in time for it to matter? But I feel like you never know that. You never really know how these guys are going to adapt or how quickly. So,
and Diggs is getting old, so
Yeah,
If
Diggs
something
is a guy I
happens to
find
Diggs-
hard. I find hard. He's another guy I find hard to click on. I don't know. I like Diggs, the receiver, but coming off of the injury like that, I don't know. Do you have any worry at all?
I mean, the reports out of camp are good, and he's looking like he's very healthy and strong and everything else. Diggs is a supreme competitor. I know from his Minnesota years, that guy does not like to lose. Basically the only times he's stunk is when Buffalo basically intentionally phased him out of their offense in the end of the 2023 season, and then when he tore his ACL in the 2024 season. Other than that, he's been, pretty much a solid wide receiver one the whole way.
I remembered what I was going to say, Dan. My only rule today is we cannot pick the Lions as our defense. Because I've got him on I think he's on 60% of my big gorillas so far. I was like, who's my most owned player right now? And then I see Detroit Lions defense. I was like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There are worse defenses.
No, but I just, it's one of those things
you don't
where
want to be too
heavily in one, because then that the waiver wire money, then you've got more teams that you're draining early on those if they don't, come out strong or whatever.
Yep. Do you know who has dropped, I think, way too far? You put in a couple tight ends, but Pat Freiermuth.
You and your Freiermuth, you don't give it up, Dan. You love some Freiermuth.
The reports out of Pittsburgh is he is still the absolute number one tight end in that offense. Jonnu Smith is going to be more, moved around the formation, all that kind of stuff. But the guy who's playing true tight end, getting a lot of those looks, is going to be Freiermuth. And you look at who they got. They got DK Metcalf and a bunch of question marks at wide receiver. Who's going to get those passes in the middle of the field? That's the question.
Yeah. Who's this team? Neck pain 7. I like that build. McCaffrey, Chase Brown, Sampson, and Ford, and then Shipley, Woody, and then Giddens.
Yep.
He's got your bird in there. We talked about Diggs. He's got T. Higgins, Marvin Harrison, and then he's got Njoku and Joe Burrow for that T. Higgins. I kind of like that build.
Yeah, I do too. And I thought about Njoku where we took Warren, but
I got too much of him. I have too much Njoku, man. I like you know how it is, Dan. Like I know you've been in the woods for a bit, but you've still been drafting. We've been drafting since, let's face it, right after the Super Bowl or whenever the hell the FFPC opens, and it's you get to a point now where it's like, okay, I don't like George Pickens is a guy like that for me right now, where it's like I don't have enough. So now I'm like, whenever I get the opportunity, I work him into a draft. You have your list of guys that you're like, hey, I need to have a bit more of this guy or that guy in my portfolio.
Right.
So, yeah, some tight ends, some running backs. You see, like now the defenses start going off the board. I don't know. In this tournament, I'm more like I'll wait till the last 2 picks. Maybe I'll do.
I'd have to be pretty stuck.
Yeah,
at all the other positions, like I don't see anybody I like.
Totally.
Yeah. So I really like Kyle Monange here. I think he's a really, really fun player.
Yep, I'm good with that.
Miles Sanders is another one. I mean, he's kind of a reluctant click for me, but
that would be my only share, Dan.
Miles Sanders?
Yeah, I just can't get into it.
And Monange just went off.
Yeah, so, I saw that.
Yeah, the fun thing about Sanders is he could easily be the Cowboys' starting running back because Javonte. You haven't heard too much. They ask what's Javonte been doing, and well, he's our leader in the running back room. He's such a professional, but they don't talk about like anything on the field. But I think Man, I think I might go Freiermuth here. If I mean, tight end 28. You know he's going to be a back end tight end 1, early tight end 2.
Do you think he plays ahead of Jonnu?
I think I think they both play a lot, and I think he can easily return value at this point. I don't hate Jordan James, Pat Bryant, Miles Sanders.
I threw Brian in there and Thornton just because it opens up, like I said, Geno, if we wanted to grab him. I actually don't mind that too much because we kind of have like 4 established guys. Then we have, a guy coming off injury with huge upside. We've got a rookie with huge upside.
All right. You want to go Pat Bryant here?
Either Bryant or Thornton.
Let's go Bryant.
Yeah, I mean, we've been drafting him everywhere else, so why not Dan? Why the hell not?
Yeah.
Another Pat Bryant. I was trying to deviate, but it's like I feel like whether I'm drafting with you or Snowman or even solo, it's like you see his name there and you're like, ooh, shiny new toy. I mean, we've got Harvey.
Yeah.
We've got Harvey.
And I think we're done at wide receiver at this point. We've got.
Yeah, I agree. Which is a pretty sexy. Obviously I'm not the biggest Jeudy fan, but I don't mind having, that odd share here and there. But otherwise, I just feel like the way we built that receiver room is pretty nice.
Right.
So G-Dubs, Pickens, Jeudy, Addison, Douglas, Ayuk, Kyle Williams, and then Pat Bryant receivers. Still have Kittle and Warren at tight end. Running backs, I mean, we've got our 5 guys, pretty good mix. I mean, we definitely need those rookies, at least one of those rookies to fire, I think, for this team to work. And then for one of Charbonnet or Garendo to really come in or even to complement each other maybe in the games that they come into our starting lineup. But that's always hard to know. But you hope that it at least aligns when you need to play them.
Right.
Whether it's bye weeks or injuries or whatever it is. But I mean, it's one of those for a tournament. These are definitely the type of players that I think you want to be drafting, is kind of that upside. There's room. You're not necessarily drafting them at their ceiling,
Right. Yeah. And all right. So we're going to need to take probably a running back. But we're at a point where we're either taking one more running back, and Freiermuth just went off. I think we're fine just riding our 2 tight ends, because I think we're going to want one more running back, one more quarterback, and then we got to get a kicker in the defense.
Yeah, I was going to say we for sure want another quarterback.
Yep.
I mean, it's one of those where you can try to ride it, but you're really, really leaning into Maye, just crushing it from week 1. Whereas we could get an offense that plays well. I mean, I really like Cam Ward, but I feel like these are all really good QB2s with the guys we have in Penix, Bryce Young, and Cameron Ward.
Yeah, and Jordan Love is still out there too. I mean, that's
is
really
he seriously?
not a bad. Yeah,
oh, dude, that is huge upside.
That I think is maybe our smash pick.
That's kind of hard to ignore right now.
Yeah,
if we get him,
we got to take Ward here.
If we get him in the 17th, is he really going in the 17th round, or am I like?
Yeah, because he's got that.
He goes round 15. Round 15, according to is where he's been going on average the last 2 days in this tournament. So if we can get him right now in round 17, I think that's a smash.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, he's just one season removed from finishing like quarterback 5 or whatever. So,
oh, Dan, we have to do it.
Yeah, smash love.
Oh, there it is. That's one of those when your QB2 ends up being like a really nice value, a possible. He was kind of going in that mid. Like with the JJ McCarthy's, Herbert's, Caleb, around, kind of around that tier.
Yep.
I feel like he's like the last guy in that tier.
And that's the thing is, in drafts this year, you can, let the draft come to you on your quarterback too. Don't get nervous. Don't reach. It's just let the draft come to you. Somebody's going to drop that you're going to really, really like, and just keep going and getting your wide receivers, your tight ends, your running backs, and then worry about quarterback 2 very, very late. I mean, being able to get Jordan Love as a quarterback 20. Somebody just got Bryce Young as quarterback 21.
I was just going to say, you look at them beside each other, and I mean, they, in my opinion, go out and try to buy Jordan Love because the hate has just gone too far,
right.
in my opinion.
We're talking about all these weapons that Green Bay has. Well, maybe the way to play the passing game is right through Jordan Love and not worry about all of his weapons.
Which he's kind of, it's funny you say that because he is kind of like a Drake Maye where you don't mind having him naked because you think he's, or like a Josh Allen cheap, discount Josh Allen where there's a lot of people around him, a lot of weapons, a lot of names, a lot in the receiving game. You don't really know how that's going to go, but if it all goes well, the guy who's going to benefit the most is the quarterback.
Yeah, definitely. All right, I'm going to take Penix and Cam Ward off of there.
Yeah.
I have 3 running backs in. We have Jordan James just because we already have Garendo, so I think that makes him interesting. Justice Hill, if anything happens to Derrick Henry, that's an interesting name. And then Kareem Hunt, you got the early game look on Kareem Hunt, so he's somebody to hold for the Friday game, and then if he doesn't do anything in that game or whatever, you can always drop him and pick somebody else up.
I threw Theo Johnson in there just because I love Theo Johnson. To me, he's similar to Tyrone Tracy, where I think. Sorry, go ahead.
I agree, but I don't think we can.
You just want to go. You just want to go 2, right?
Yeah, I think we got to get that 6th running back a lot more than we need the 3rd.
Yeah, agreed. I forgot. For some reason, I was thinking we said tight end too.
Yep. Well, we did for a moment, but then we took Pat Bryant, and that kind of went out the window.
All right, let me look. Oh. Threw a couple more names in there.
Okay.
And I don't know where they go. I'm just looking at the RB list specifically. But, I mean, we got 1 pick left, basically, before we got to go kick our defense.
Yeah, and honestly, if the Vikings defense is there, I might be interested in taking them in the 18th round. I think they're going to be a really good defense.
Okay.
Don't love the early buy, but I do think they are going to be a good defense. So, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see. Maybe.
That's always tough, is the early buy.
Yep. Yeah, and especially with us trying to hang on to Ayuk, that might. As much as I love the Vikings defense, it might make sense to grab a defense with a later bye.
Fairbairn is pretty nice as a kicker, but he obviously has the week 6 bye. Matt Gay's a guy that I've been clicking on in these type of things because he's got a week 12 and he's with Washington.
Yeah. All right. So I think Jordan James or Justice Hill is probably.
So we have Garendo.
Yep.
I don't. Oh, there goes Minnesota. There you go.
Yep. Makes that easy.
I mean, there's 2 ways we could look at it. We could look at it like, you always want to have parts of different, like at running back, you but I feel like in a redraft, I don't mind locking in the 2 running backs behind CMC, especially when I'm not necessarily buying him into him this year.
Right. Yeah, I think James makes a lot of sense for us here.
Okay, let's do James.
I liked your Ollie Gordon idea too. I thought that was a fun one.
Yeah, he looked good, man, and he's, Mostert's gone. He comes in. The other 2, I feel like we know what we have. Like where Jalen Wright fits if he works a role in, whereas Ollie seems to have more to offer maybe in the offense, and that's where whenever there's whatever it is. I mean, I don't know that Jalen Warren, as much as I like him, especially in these drafts where he's going, I don't know that he's necessarily like locked in as the guy necessarily. I think that if Ollie Gordon comes in, like that offense right now, they need something. They need a spark. They need something. You hear all this, Tyreek, maybe he gets traded or whatever. Maybe he's gone. Like, it just seems like it's not a very smooth operation going on right now in Miami.
Right, exactly.
But that also can open up doors for rookies is kind of what I was getting at. So we've got James. Now it's just a matter of our kicker defense.
Yeah, if the KC defense is here, I kind of like them. They've got a late enough bye. They usually score. They've been a hanging around the top 10 defenses pretty much every year. So, and you get the early look on them too, which is also a bonus.
Yeah, that's a pretty big bonus.
So we'll see. Team 2 took Harrison Butker, so he's getting the early look at kicker. He could take KC.
He could totally take KC right now. Yeah.
But then he's got kicker defense on the same bye. I mean, he's got plenty of time to.
Oh, he didn't do it. He didn't do it. Nice.
No, he took Stafford.
Nice. Oh, no way. This guy double tap at defense and just sniped us like a bizatch.
All right.
You bastard.
Kaimi Fairbairn, I like, but I'll tell you what, Will Lutz with a week 12 bye, kicking in mile high air. I got less questions about him than I do Gay.
Yeah, I agree. I'm good with that.
How about we do Lutz here and then we'll figure out defense?
Yeah, for sure. I usually take my kicker first.
Okay.
Like, unless it's a defense I really want for whatever reason, and there's not like if there's a kicker I like, I'm going kicker. For me, it's more predictive than defense. You could have a good defense and just not score points, in fantasy.
Right, exactly.
Devin Neal, it's been really quiet. No, with Devin Neal and
he got a hamstring, so he's out for a couple weeks.
No, that's probably why.
That's definitely holding down his price. All right, so I think the Jets could have a sneaky good defense, and I don't hate them week 1 at home versus Pittsburgh. Aaron Rodgers is not the He can be gotten by a defense these days.
What about Seattle?
Seattle has San Francisco at home.
Early?
Well, week 1, I mean.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, never mind.
That's what I'm looking at is week 1, like.
Who the Rams have week 1?
I'm not sure I'm interested in the Rams. They've got Houston week 1.
All right, well, we'll see what comes back here anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate Washington because they got the Giants week 1.
Washington's going in there to win that game.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, New York, sorry. The Giants.
Well, yeah, they're going in there to win that game, but, I mean, Washington they're a good team.
What is with the double kicker? Like, seriously?
I don't know.
Like, what's the point of that? I don't get it. Like, are you going to be guessing every week which kicker to start? Like, that's just such a waste. That makes no sense to me.
I would much rather do something else with that position.
Like maybe if he had Butker and he's trying to get the free look and also lock in like let's say at least you lock in that first week. But even that, like, I would not spend 2 picks on a kicker.
Right. I don't know. I just can't really do 2 kickers, 2 defenses.
No.
I have a hard time with that.
No, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty happy with my Aubrey shares though in Dynasty right now on FFPC.
Yeah. No complaints there. You and I have them in a couple places, I believe. I know we have at least one team where we own them.
Yes. We have some teams that are looking pretty good for this year, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Make sure you guys smash the like, guys, if you're enjoying the show, enjoying the draft. I don't know, Dan, about you, but after we finish these shows, I don't always feel good about the team that I've drafted. I know it's easy to say, oh yeah, it was a good draft, all that, but I really like this team, Dan. Like, for a tournament, this is like it's almost like the perfect tournament team, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a good team. I like it a lot. I think we've got good upside everywhere. We've got some good depth. We waited around and got some really nice values. I mean, I think Drake Maye was a great value. Ayuk was a great value. Jordan Love was a great value.
Love was a nice value.
And getting the Charbonnet, Tootin, Garendo trifecta rounds 9 through 11. I think that is going to work out really well. So, yeah, a lot to like about that team for sure.
All right, so we've got New York, Washington in the queue.
I kind of lean New York. I mean, Aaron Glenn is the head coach. I think, I think they're a better defense on paper than Washington. And playing against Pittsburgh, I think they're going to be out there to prove something. I know that the Jets probably, and there's also the revenge motive against Aaron Rodgers, since Rodgers was playing for the Jets last year.
That is very valid, Dan. That is very, you just, like, if you were a car salesman, you just hit my G spot, Dan, with that one. You just hit that's just like, now my 60% Detroit Lions ownership is going to be battling my 60% New York Jets ownership just for the drama. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's got to be the Jets here.
All right, sounds good. I'll make the pick. Boom. There we go.
Oh, this was a ton of fun. This is a fun one, Dan. This is like, that's what I'm saying. Some teams are just fun to own. Even if we both know this is going to win $1 million, but even if it didn't, it's just a fun team. We went, you talked about the value with both our quarterbacks and Drake Maye, Jordan Love. Started off strong with the captain of our team, Jahmyr Gibbs, who has all the ceiling in the world when you think about it. And like you said, even outscored Bijan last year. Was it Bijan or Barkley you said?
Outscored Barkley. And
fantasy points per game?
Total points, I believe.
Total points. Interesting. Okay. Either way, Gibbs is a beast, man, and I think this year he just explodes. I mean, we saw a taste of it last year. RJ Harvey could come in and be a beast out there in Denver. Charbonnet, Tootin, and Garendo, like you said, and then why not lock up that San Francisco running back room with Jordan James behind Garendo? We've got G-Dubs, Pickens, Jeudy, Addison. We've got the Demarius Douglas, Kyle Williams combo, which we ended up getting add a value in a way, because we were talking about both those guys around the same time, and then we took Douglas in 13th, and then we sandwiched that with some Brandon Ayuk, I guess is how they say it, upside, and then we've got our favorite rookie receiver, Pat Bryant, has to be on every team. It's like on brand, with Kittle and Warren as the two Chiefs at tight end, and then Lutz and the drama with the Jets playing Pittsburgh week 1. So yeah, man, fun draft day. And any last words or comments or anything with I know we talked about some of the other teams kind of as we went through the draft.
I agree. Very fun draft. I always do enjoy drafting with you. You and I have we've got a great history drafting together, and I think a big part of that is just when you draft with somebody else, you got 2 points of view coming in, and each of you will see things that the other person isn't seeing. Each of you will have different takes, expose each other to different players and so forth like that. So if you've never drafted with somebody else on a team, I think that's a great way to go. You'll definitely learn things, and it's also a good way to double the amount of teams that you can put out and play, because you're only going to have to spend half the money to do it. So that helps out as well. So great team. I do like. I like team 7. I think you're right on there, and I think that team 8 has a really nice build as well. I like what they've done, so that's a nice looking team. So a couple really nice teams in there, and I think it'll be a good battle.
Yeah, it's funny you say team 8, because that's mix in those first 5 rounds, but that's what a lot of my teams look like when they start off. Anytime I see that clunk of green, from the middle to later rounds to the teens, that, I just love that. I love looking at the different combinations, because there's almost an art to it when you combine those late round running backs, and some guys just get it. When you look at their builds, they just get it. So for me, same thing. We talked about 7 earlier in the show. Definitely like the way 8 build it. I like the build that we got. And, Dan, obviously we've been drafting together for a while now. I don't own any teams with anyone where I don't have, I'm trying to say. I have obviously the most teams with you, whether it's Dynasty, whatever, best ball. But I do make a point of drafting with, like you said, with other players. And it almost becomes like a dance, right? You might push back on a player, but then, the next round after that, you'll give more on a player that the other drafter wants. And it allows you to be exposed to players like Jerry Jeudy's not a guy I draft often, but Dan, thought he fit the build and insisted on it. And then the next round, he kind of leaned a bit and, allowed me to maybe be a little more part of that pick in the next round. So it's all about a dance and going back and forth and having a nice balance, but it allows you, like you said, to learn new styles, to learn about new players, maybe that you haven't been, noticing in a certain round or in a certain spot of the draft. And it makes the drafts even more fun. Like Snowman, we talk about Snowman, yourself. Mike Schopp is a guy that, every year for, I don't know, 3-4 years now, we make a point of at least doing a couple entries in the BBT or whatever it is, because it's just fun. It just makes it more fun to do it, whether it's a live draft or a slow draft. The slow drafts, you get to DM, and every time you're close to the clock, it's like, okay, these are the guys I'm thinking. You get into these huge, just those DMs of team owners interacting together should be a show in itself when you think about it, the amount of knowledge that's kind of shared, because you're searching, you're looking, you're checking, you're looking at every angle, especially in a slow draft. So it definitely makes it more fun. I'm glad we got to do this tonight. Like I said earlier, we do have our main event we'll as we get closer to it, we'll we'll give you guys details on the date and the time when we'll do it. And then I'm trying to pre-record a lot of these because, Dan, as you noticed tonight, and as we've talked about very often about these live drafts, is you don't necessarily get to talk strategy and, mention players' names before they get taken and all that kind of stuff. So these pre-recorded shows allow us, like, they end up being more work on the back end just because, you've got to kind of put a show together on the back end as opposed to just stopping the recording and, letting it go. But I think it gives a better product, and it gives more value to the audience when we're able to pre-record.
Yeah, I agree with that because it's just so much more valuable to be able to talk specifically about players and to be able to look ahead and talk about players that haven't been drafted yet, all of that. So it just makes so much more sense. It's really hard when you're listening to a podcast and you hear the host going, do you like the second player in the queue or the fourth player in the queue better? That does not do much for me. So, yeah, I think these pre-recorded are the way to go.
So, Dan, I'm just looking here on the 28th of August at 4 p.m. right now is what I have for our main event entry, which is the $2,000 buy-in, $1 million to first. And that same week on the Tuesday, we have John Daigle lined up for the GOAT District on the 26th of August, 9 p.m. We've got a couple guys right now. We're just trying to finalize the date and the time. But, couple big guys, whether it's sharps that are dropping, whatever it is on high stakes, or one of your favorite analysts, Dan. We've got some pretty good shows coming up. I know Snowman and myself are going to be recording a super bracket, Dan, the super bracket draft.
Oh, nice.
Which is 96 teams, $1,000 buy-in on September 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th is when we're doing that draft.
I wanted to get into that, but it sold out on the dates where I had openings, and so there's nothing left.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to ask you about that. Okay, well that makes that easy. So lots coming up. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I was just going to say, unfortunately, I have drafts already lined up and paid for during all the times when the super draft is going on. So
I hear you. There's so much goodness. It's like, we gotta pick and choose. And the closer we get to the season, the more you got to pick and choose, right? With where you're going to put those last entries and where you want to put your energy and, who you're going to draft with, all that kind of stuff, trying to coordinate schedules. But that's what we have coming up in the GOAT District. Make sure you guys stay tuned in. Dan, this was a blast. And buddy, we'll see you. We'll see you in the draft streets, man. We got some teams to draft still.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nice.
GOAT District, the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden, they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be trading. And I always be trading. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.